Raimondo had been waiting for this day a long time. Some might say for years.
So help you God.
I do.
And when she finally took the oath as governor Tuesday afternoon, Raimondo became the first woman in Rhode Island to do so. This week's inauguration came after a hectic transition period and little time to celebrate her November victory.
You know, the hardest thing about the transition is just the magnitude of the effort.
In a wide-ranging interview at her transition office last week, Raimondo told us the 8 weeks between Election Day and Inauguration Day have been a governmental baptism by fire.
The budget's a mess. It's at least a $200 million shortfall this year, probably more than that. And it's going to double in the next 2 years as we lose Twin River revenue. For too long, we've been avoiding the difficult decisions.
In the back of your mind, did you think it might be worse than I think?
Yes, because actually that happened to me when I was treasurer. You know, when I was campaigning for treasurer, I knew the pension was a mess. But then when you finally get in there and you start to unpack the problem, it was a much bigger, more difficult problem than I thought.
The governor has until next month to propose next year's budget, but her team has already been working on it for weeks. And while Raimondo continues her mantra that only by creating jobs can the state balance its books, she acknowledges some short-term decisions will have to be made to get out from under the looming red ink.
In the short term, to bridge that gap, and you said you can't cut your way out of it, don't you at least have to look at some cuts to bridge that gap?
You do. You absolutely do. I mean, like, in a couple of months, I'm going to have to present a balanced budget and have to find $200 million right away. So here's how I think about it. It's time to make government more effective. And so it's not just cutting, it's restructuring, getting rid of programs that don't work.
A month into the transition, Raimondo announced her chief of staff would be Steve Newman, a top aide to the governor of Maryland. Several weeks ago, she tapped the former head of Connecticut's education department to head Rhode Island's Commerce Corporation.
You're bringing in some people from the outside, and that's raised some eyebrows, particularly chief of staff. And some people have argued it may take him 6 months to find the bathroom.
Right.
So what would you say to the people who say, maybe for chief of staff it might have been better to go inside? Why did you pick Steve?
Because we need talent. I need the very best talent I can find. And also it's time to do things differently. We can't keep saying we're going to do it the way we've always done it. Look at where we are. The way we've always done it is not working. Third highest unemployment rate in the country. If we don't innovate, we're going to perish.
How do you attract people to come to Rhode Island? What's the sell?
Well, you know, everyone wants to live here. Everyone says it's a great place to live. I attract people by saying we're going to do something special. There's a lot of problems that have been hurting Rhode Islanders for a long time. Things we've talked about doing forever. You know, like the pension. Talked about it forever. This is the administration that's going to do it. We're not going to be afraid to take on those tough issues. Be part of it. Be on the team.
So jump on my back and come along for the ride?
Yeah. Well, be part of the team. Be part of the team that's going to ignite Rhode Island's comeback. 20 years from now, people are going to be saying, at that moment, 2015, they started to turn the corner. And I was part of that.
Raimondo has had frequent contact with House Speaker Nicholas Mattiello and Senate President Teresa Paiva-Weed since her election, although each goes into this year's General Assembly session with different legislative agendas.
How would you describe your relationship with the leadership at the General Assembly?
Good, positive. I had lunch with the Speaker today, seeing the Senate President tomorrow. We have regular communication, which is the key. We're not always going to agree. But it's important to communicate. I'm the first Democrat elected in 20 plus years, so I'm looking forward to real collaboration.
One key difference, Mattiello says he's not convinced Rhode Island should pour millions into HealthSource RI, the state's version of Obamacare.
I think we ought to keep it in Rhode Island. I think every Rhode Islander deserves a right to high-quality, affordable health care. But we need to reduce the cost.
Is it worth $15 to $18 million a year, or are you saying keep it and reduce that amount that the taxpayers have to help
That's
with?
what I'm saying. I'm saying exactly.
Can you do that?
Keep yes, we're going to do that. We're going to try to do that. That's the goal.
Raimondo says she has realistic expectations about how much her administration can get done in the first 100 days and the first year. but she realizes people want to see changes quickly.
You know, a lot of people in Rhode Island are this close to giving up, right? You probably see it. They're down. They feel like they've been let down over and over again by their leaders. The only way we're going to convince people to believe that we can get something done is to start to do it. And if they see Department of Transportation is working, their kids' schools are getting rebuilt, you know, DCYF, they're getting good services, well, then they're going to start to trust that, hey, maybe we can actually get something done. It's making Rhode Island a place that businesses want to be. Streamlined regulations, customer-friendly government, reasonable taxes, budgets that balance, honest and ethical place to do business, workforce that's trained, and a very aggressive governor who's constantly reaching out to businesses saying, I need you to put my people to work. What's it going to take?
Raimondo says she is proud to be Rhode Island's first female governor.
And as you put your hand up on Inauguration Day, what do you think?
It's a big deal. It tells every girl you can be whatever you want to be. Work hard. Opportunity is there.
The new governor begins with the optimism that baseball players have at spring training, tempered with the realization that the season, in this case her first term, will be a marathon and not a sprint.
Wish me luck. It's a big, big job.
Will you need it?
I will need it. I need luck and prayers and good wishes and faith. Look, here's the message to Rhode Island. We are in a mess. There's no way to sugarcoat that. We're up to the challenge. It's a big challenge. We're going to meet that challenge. Don't give up. Let's go at it.
In Providence, Jim Hummel for the Hummel Report.